Good morning, everybody. What a beautiful, it's a little chilly, but a beautiful morning here in Columbus and Franklin County, Central Ohio. So thrilled to be with you here today and just grateful for so many of our partners that have brought us to where we are today for this exciting announcement. Smart Columbus, to City Council, to the Department of Technology at the city, the Franklin County Board of Commissioners, Pat and his team at the Metropolitan Library. It is a great morning for us. It's great to be back at Smart Columbus to talk about the future of innovation and equity in the city of Columbus and in Franklin County, to announce new investments that will expand access and upward mobility for some of our most vulnerable residents. Our guiding light is Opportunity Rising, our equity agenda. It's all about growing the winner's circle and make sure that shared prosperity is felt by everybody in our community, regardless of what they do for a living and where they live. Much of the work we're discussing here today dates back to the COVID-19 pandemic, which heightened and accelerated disparities across our society that had long existed, but largely gone unaddressed or resolved. The severity of the circumstances warranted a more direct and immediate response to prevent these disparities from spilling over and potentially weighing down even more of our neighbors. One of the most vivid and consequential lessons we took from this time was the growing importance of an increasingly interconnected and digital world. Yes, classrooms and some professions pivoted toward the virtual realm, but this followed years of widespread and deepening reliance on digital tools like smartphones, tablets, and high-speed internet to fully engage in the most vital aspects of daily life. And the significance of these resources has not waned in the time since the pandemic lockdowns were lifted and the world returned to normal. Global pandemic or no, every resident deserves to have full access to affordable, high-speed internet, as well as the digital devices that bring these services directly into the home or the palm of your hand, regardless of your ability to pay. Just about every transaction requires the internet and a computer or smartphone connection. Applying for a job, scheduling a doctor's appointment, submitting homework assignments, shopping online, obtaining public services, reaching out to friends and loved ones, developing new life skills and hobbies and interests. Having reliable internet is as crucial as having access to clean water and electricity. What we're talking about is a modern utility in its own right, and we can't leave anyone behind. Unfortunately, there are sizable portions of our local population, our neighbors, who lack adequate access to the tools they need to tap into the power of this essential technology. In Franklin County, 80,000 households are without home internet. That comes out to roughly 200,000 residents, or 10% of our total population. At the same time, over 66,000 households do not have a computing device. And like so many other disparities, the effects aren't evenly distributed. Residents with lower incomes, people of color, and those with lower levels of education are disproportionately excluded from leading a fully digital life. We have an obligation to help those who've been left out and left behind. That's what Rise Together and Opportunity Rising is all about. And we need to be purposeful and intentional in building a future that is both dynamic and inclusive. It's why we convened more than 40 organizations to form the Franklin County Digital Equity Coalition back in 2020. We knew then, as we do now, that we needed to lay out specific steps for action aimed at closing the gap between those who do and those who do and do not have access to affordable, reliable, high-speed internet. This gap in access is known as the digital divide. Fortunately, Columbus is great at collaboration. cooperation, and partnership, all of which are propelling this critical work forward. And this same spirit is what's driving the solutions that we're sharing with all of you today. The City of Columbus is proud to announce that we'll be devoting $15 million in ARPA funding to implement the Coalition's Digital Equity Action Agenda, which was released by the group last fall. This money, this investment, this effort wouldn't be possible without the leadership of President Joe Biden, Senator Sherrod Brown, and Congresswoman Joyce Beatty, who made the American Rescue Plan happen. So every time I announce ARPA investments, I thank those three folks, because we wouldn't be making this investment today without their leadership. The action agenda seeks to close the digital divide in Central Ohio by addressing four key areas: connectivity, device access, digital skills, outreach, and adoption. You'll learn more about the specific areas receiving funds in just a few moments. Our investment also has the added benefit of advancing the recommendations of the Recovery and Resiliency Advisory Committee, a separate community-wide initiative designed to determine how and where to allocate the remaining balance of our federal stimulus dollars. This group was convened by Commissioner O'Grady, Kenny McDonald, and many of us back at the beginning of the pandemic, because what we knew what happened after the Great Recession is that the recovery that took place afterwards was not inclusive. And many families only got back to where they were before the Great Recession, right when the pandemic hit. And so this Economic Recovery and Resiliency Advisory Committee gave us a roadmap to say we wanted to have a dynamic and inclusive recovery. Where should we invest? How should we invest to make sure that everybody was sharing in our community's success? We're committed to serving the greater good on behalf of the larger community, but our most urgent focus must be on those Columbus neighborhoods and in the county where disparities in access are at their widest and where our residents have the most to gain from additional resources. To talk about the specific programs and initiatives receiving funds as part of this initial investment, it's my pleasure to introduce Sam Moore, the Director of the Department of Technology for the City of Columbus. Sam, thank you to you and your team and your great leadership that has gotten us to this critical point today. Please welcome Sam Moore.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank all of you for being here today, and thanks to all of our partners that have worked for 4 years to get us to this point. As the Mayor mentioned, I'm Sam Moore, the Director of Technology for the City of Columbus. You know, it's been my privilege to work in technology for the last 40 years and the last 26 years in government. And when I first met the Mayor in 2016, he brought up the importance of broadband and closing the digital divide. Having worked on broadband in my time at the state, I came here in part to focus on closing the digital divide in Columbus, and I'm grateful to the Mayor and all my colleagues for their vision, leadership, and support in making this topic a top priority for his administration. This investment is not just funding, but building a sustainable coalition of people to address the challenge of closing the digital divide. It's a huge step forward for our community. As the Mayor mentioned, we have over 80,000 residents without access to high-speed, affordable internet, and another 66,000 households that don't have computers. We know many of our residents have cell phones, but they don't have the residential connectivity or computers or tablets with large screens. Can you imagine trying to apply for a job or write a term paper using public Wi-Fi at a fast food restaurant, perhaps outside of a school, using one of these? Pretty difficult, right? It'd be so much easier with a large screen device and a high-speed, affordable internet at home, like most of the people in this room have. It's pretty hard to participate in a digital economy when you don't have the tools. So that's what we're investing in. We're investing in the tools. We're investing in 4 priorities that the Mayor mentioned that all work together to close the digital divide. The first is connectivity. We must expand reliable, high-speed residential internet in low-income neighborhoods at an affordable cost. We're focused on our opportunity neighborhoods and Franklin County poverty blueprint areas. We're working to ensure that eligible households are participating in the Affordable Connectivity Program, and we're pleased to report that countywide participation is now at 55%. The second is access to devices. We're providing 10,000 large screen devices to participants in our digital life skills training, and we're working with public and private partners to create a sustainable stream of high-quality devices available at low or no cost to residents who need them. We're also investing in digital life skills by increasing access to digital skills training among community organizations. We will reach residents where they are and provide support that prioritizes residents' individualized needs. We will kick off our Tech Goes Home program in 2024 with 3 to 5 day digital life skills camps, and we will expand our summer tech program to provide science, technology, engineering, art, and math programming for elementary, middle, and high school students. Lastly, we're building a movement. We're investing in 100 community partners and 1,500 digital advocates to raise awareness, develop, support, and deploy this work. And by working together, that will connect us. We're grateful to have a coalition of partners already driving this work, and it's now my pleasure to turn this over to Jordan Davis, the Executive Director of Smart Columbus, to share more about how we will go further and farther together.
Thank you, Mayor Ginther and Director Orth. This is such a special day for so many of us in this community, and it wouldn't have been possible without your leadership, so thank you. At Smart Columbus, we are working every day to leverage technology to become the most prosperous city in the country. In doing so, we must ensure everyone has a place in our future. That starts with ensuring all under-resourced residents have affordable access to high-quality internet devices and skills to do what they want and need to do online. We've spoken directly with residents across this community who have shared what it's like to live with digital limitations. One mother shared that not having home internet and running out of her data plan at the end of the month was like living in an island in the middle of nowhere. We heard from homeless youth how valuable their cell phone was as a lifeline to navigating, finding shelter, and getting food. A grandmother who couldn't afford home internet shared how it has started to impact visits with her grandchildren who want to be online when they come to her house. A mother we spoke to has been saving money and struggled to afford a device so that she could get an at-home job working for a call center. Another resident I remember very clearly, nearly in tears, shared that he frequently had to lose his job because he needs to take 2 hours every week to go to a doctor's appointment. But because of his recent ability to use telehealth, he hasn't missed a day of work in a month. Access and use of the internet was expressed repeatedly as basic need, as important as rent and transportation. The community has been working in coordination via the Franklin County Digital Equity Coalition to understand these divides and its impact, but also to respond with urgent access to issues that our community has been facing since the onset of the pandemic. But the reality is, these divides existed before the pandemic, and they're going to exist long after unless we get ahead of it now. Partners of the Franklin County Digital Equity Coalition have already begun piloting innovative ways to meet these needs long-term. Partners have stepped up introducing new programming by staffing digital navigators at social service organizations, thanks to pilot funding from the Columbus Foundation. We have begun piloting digital skills training, thanks to Jewish Family Services, Columbus Metropolitan Library, Goodwill, and area schools. We've tested emerging low-cost residential internet technologies, and we've assisted residents in enrolling in the Affordable Connectivity Program. This funding announced today by the City of Columbus and Franklin County will accelerate these efforts to meet the affordability, device, and skills needs of residents and ensure coordination and implementation. We see these dollars from the city and county as the seed to additional public and private investment, as well as federal funding towards this work. We would not be here today without the initiative taken by the Columbus Foundation, the Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission, and the Columbus Metropolitan Library, who in the immediate onset of the pandemic facilitated these regular Wednesday conversations to coordinate and encourage action to address the digital divide. Their responsive leadership in the spirit of the Columbus way set the table for coordination and collaboration in how we solve this problem and founded the Franklin County Digital Equity Coalition. Today, Smart Columbus and into the future will serve as the central coordination vehicle for this community-wide implementation. We commit to sharing the learnings from Columbus with the nation through the National Digital Inclusion Alliance, and we will collaborate closely with our neighboring counties of the Columbus region and the state of Ohio with the Broadband Ohio office. We welcome more organizations and passionate residents to get involved with the DEC, and you can join us on Wednesdays for that coalition. This historic investment, and let me say this truly is a historic investment, is in large part due to the leadership of the city. But it's going to be extended and made possible to the entire county because of the support of the county. So thank you, President O'Grady, for your leadership, and I'll turn it to you now.
Thank you, Jordan. So it's a pleasure to be here this morning, excuse me, and bringing profound progressive community change and advancement is paramount to what my colleagues, Kevin Boyce and Erica Crowley and I do every day in Franklin County. And for the 80,000 households without digital access, this initiative provides an ecosystem that addresses all the aspects to ensure digital literacy to our neighbors. And our neighbors can look forward to affordable and subsidized broadband and internet service options, internet-enabled devices that meet the needs of users, like multilingual capabilities and basic digital skills training, quality and consistently reliable hardware and software technical support, as well as online content that enables and encourages self-sufficiency, community engagement, participation, and collaboration. Empowering underserved residents with affordable digital access to healthcare, financial management, job opportunities, and community communication represents significant steps forward toward impactful and generational progress and change. Together with our partners from the City of Columbus, the Department of Technology, Columbus Metropolitan Library, the Columbus Foundation, Jewish Family Services, MORPC, Ohio Health, Smart Columbus, and the National Digital Inclusion Alliance, we can close this divide and level the playing field for digital opportunity with full, robust participation in our society, democracy, and our economy. So we are very proud today to be a part of this coalition, and I am now going to turn it over to Council Member Nick Bankston.
Thank you, Commissioner, and also to the Mayor and administration for your leadership on this and partnership. I have the pleasure of serving you on council and lead and chair our Technology Committee, as well as our Economic Development and Small Minority Business Committee. And so today's announcement is really an intersection of all three of those things. And so I'm really excited about the announcement that we're making today, but more importantly, excited about the transformation that it will have in so many folks' lives. You know, as a member of Columbus City Council, one of my key priorities is to ensure that our residents and businesses have the tools and resources that they need, not to just simply survive or exist in our city, but to thrive. In today's increasingly digital environment, addressing the digital divide is essential to the collective success of our community. The COVID-19 pandemic confirmed what many of us in this room already knew, that there is a severe gap in digital literacy and access in communities of color, and in particularly the Black community. As a result, a significant portion of the working age population lacks essential digital skills, inhibiting them in their participation in the modern economy and the ever-evolving digital frontier. We can, and with this announcement today, we will do better as a city. Today's announcement of this critical investment is not just about giving folks access to better connectivity or no-cost devices, or even about digital skills. Today's investment is also about righting a wrong and making it very clear to our community, to our Black residents, to our brown residents, to our new American residents, and those residents that have been left out of the prosperity of our city, that we see you, and that we see you as a recipe in in our city's growth. And we want to ensure that you are able to participate in our city's economic future. This initiative will open doors to educational opportunities, job prospects, and economic mobility for those that have been digitally excluded. A digitally inclusive community is better equipped to face the challenges and opportunities of the digital age. And as we've seen in our economic development strategies, Columbus has emerged as a leader in the tech and digital space. And we have to ensure that everyone is able to share in that prosperity. I'm appreciative of all the partners that we currently have at the table to tackle this issue, and look forward to the continuing to add voices to this table as well, because this is going to take a collective effort. It is going to take a whole community effort of organizations that are both in this room and organizations that aren't in this room. And so we're really excited about having all those voices at the table to ensure that every neighbor in Columbus is sharing in our city's success. As I've said time before, and many of you have heard me say this, that the decisions that we make as a council, the decisions that we make as leaders in this community, are not simply about the Columbus of today. It's about the Columbus of 2050. It's about the Columbus that my son Xavier will inherit. And we have to fight every single day to ensure that we build a more equitable, a more sustainable, a more connected Columbus for that generation. That's why it's so critically important that we make this investment today, because the rate at which technology is advancing, we're already behind. And there's a whole generation of folks that if we don't do this now, we'll be locked out of the future of not only this city, but this economy. And that is why it's so critical. So again, I want to thank all of the partners that have been here today and that have stepped up. And equitable access to digital resources and opportunities will ensure that our city is ready to support the next generation and our residents of today. And again, these types of things don't happen without partnership. And so we have a great leader in our library system that has been leading the way in this effort. And so I really want to turn it over now to Pat Lazinski with our libraries, who's really been taking the lead in this digital divide work and gotten us to this point. So thank you, Pat, for all your leadership.
Well, thank you, Council Member Bankston. None of us would ever want to experience the pandemic again. But the one thing the pandemic did do is it laid bare for us the digital inequity that exists in Columbus and frankly all across the country. Columbus Metropolitan Library and libraries all over the country have been attempting to close the digital divide between the haves and have-nots for more than 30 years. And suddenly on March 13th, 2020, our state shut down, and not only were schools and school children unable to perform in a digital world, but many workers did not have that access, so the expectation of employers could not be met at all. I also want to take a moment to think, how symbolic is it that we're having this conference today and conversation when yesterday 28 countries around the world met to discuss the impact of AI on society. Without broadband, we are on the verge of not a digital divide, but a digital chasm that could exist if we don't get out in front of it. As a founding member of the Digital Equity Coalition, along with the Columbus Foundation and MORPSI, I am extremely proud to be here today to celebrate this wonderful investment from the city to move us forward to close the digital divide. Columbus Metropolitan Library and our teams are on the front lines of the digital inequities as we serve as digital hubs throughout our neighborhoods. We've been working with the city, the county, Smart Columbus, the Digital Equity Coalition members to meet the needs of residents through device distribution, on-site internet connectivity, home hotspot distribution, and skills training. We've seen the impact of our pilot programs firsthand. We're currently offering digital skills training courses at 2 locations, Hilltop and Carl Road, in collaboration with the coalition, providing residents an essential computer skills like Google applications, internet search, and cybersecurity. Upon completion, residents take home a high-quality Chromebook of their own, and 8 more cohorts will run before the end of the year with at partner locations. We're taking this coordinated approach by providing courses at different library locations by using a common curriculum in collaboration with partner organizations like Jewish Family Services and Goodwill. Collaboration is key to addressing the digital divide. Our partnership with the City of Columbus and Smart Columbus has allowed us to pool our resources and expertise, making our collective impact reach even more residents. The library's vision is a thriving community where wisdom prevails. Broadband remains an essential ingredient in helping us move closer to that ambitious vision. And thanks to this investment, we're going to make great strides. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. We're going to take questions individually now, but great day, great announcement. Go Columbus.